This is Bael, the first demon of the Ars Goetia, a king of hell commanding 66 legions of spirits. We must first step back thousands of years into the ancient Near East. Before he was feared, he was worshipped as a god. The name Bael is a variant of Baal, a Semitic title meaning simply Lord, and Baal was no minor figure. In Canaanite and Phoenician religion, Baal was a powerful storm god, a bringer of rain, crops and fertility. Baal's fall from grace began with the rise of monotheism in ancient Israel. The worship of Baal was seen as a grave heresy, a threat to the worship of Yahweh. Prophets like Elijah denounced Baal worship, and in time, the Lord of Storms became the enemy of God. Centuries later, medieval Christian writers took it even further. In their eyes, Baal wasn't just a false god. He was a demon king, a ruler of the infernal hierarchy. The earliest known mention of Baal in demonological texts comes from the Livre des Esprits, written in the 15th century. That's nearly 2 centuries before the more famous Le Megaton. In that grim grimoire, Baal is already described as a demon of high rank. Open the Ars Goetia, the first section of the Le Megaton Clavicular Salomonis, or the Lesser Key of Solomon, and one name appears before all others: Baal, the first demon listed in the Goetia, not just a spirit, but a king. Baal is said to command 66 legions, tens of thousands of spirits who follow his command. In the infernal hierarchy, this places him near the very top, a general of hell's dark forces. Baal is often described as appearing in 3 forms simultaneously: a man, a cat, and a toad. Each form carries symbolic weight and magical tradition. The cat represents stealth, independence, and silent observation, a creature that watches but is rarely seen. The toad symbolizes transformation and poison. In alchemy, the toad often stands for hidden change and the power to transmute the self or surroundings. And the man embodies intelligence, willpower, and cunning. Baal is not just a beast. He is a being of calculated, strategic influence. His most famous power, invisibility. Baal can render those who summon him unseen to others. But in the world of occult symbolism, this is more than literal. Invisibility is often interpreted metaphorically: the power to act without detection, to influence behind the scenes, a subtle force that sways events without drawing attention. Baal offers more than concealment. He grants wisdom and cunning to those who can handle his energy, the ability to see through deception and to outmaneuver enemies in silence. Traditions associate Baal with the north, the direction of darkness, mystery, and power in many magical systems. The north is where secrets sleep, and where vision is clearest in the dark. To summon Baal is to step into the shadows, not to command brute strength, but to gain the quiet dominance of a master strategist. When tracing the origins of a demon like Agares, we quickly discover something fascinating. He's not a biblical figure, nor does he belong to any traditional pantheon. Instead, Agares is a creation of medieval magicians, crafted from fragments of older gods, whispered legends, and the ambitions of sorcerers who dare to name the nameless. The name first appears in the Livre des Esprits, a French magical text predating even the famous Le Megaton or Ars Goetia. In these pages, we find him described as a powerful spirit, already fully formed, riding a crocodile and commanding spirits. But his roots may reach far deeper. Scholars and occult historians speculate that Agares may be a distorted echo of ancient earth deities, possibly Chaldean or Mesopotamian in origin. These were gods of soil and speech, of tremors and tongues, gods who ruled from the underworld but shaped the world above. Earthquakes weren't just natural events, they were messages, even punishments from the divine. Agares' dominion over earthquakes may be a fragment of that older mythos, where earth spirits were revered, not feared. As Christianity spread across Europe, many of these older gods were demonized. Figures once praised for their wisdom or elemental command were recast as infernal threats. Agares stands apart. He doesn't appear in the Bible, nor in any canonical religious text. His story begins in the grimoires, handbooks for conjurers, alchemists, and those who walk the razor's edge of forbidden knowledge. One of his most curious traits is his gift, the power to teach any language instantly. This linguistic mastery wasn't just seen as a scholarly skill, but as a magical one. In the Middle Ages, language itself was believed to hold divine or arcane power. To name a thing was to control it. To speak a forgotten tongue was to access lost truths. So, what does it mean that Agares teaches language? Perhaps it means more than just vocabulary. Perhaps he grants access to a deeper knowledge, the power to shape reality through words. Zrania Agares is no mere foot soldier. He is listed as the second spirit of the 72 demons catalogued in this notorious grimoire. His title, Duke. His domain, the East. And under his command, 31 legions of infernal spirits. In demonological ranking, a duke sits high in the infernal aristocracy, respected, feared, and deeply knowledgeable. Descriptions of Agares remain remarkably consistent across grimoires. He appears as an old man, often with long robes and a commanding gaze. Someone who has seen centuries pass. But what truly sets him apart is his strange mount and companion, a crocodile beneath him and a hawk on his hand. The crocodile is no random choice. It's a beast of ancient power, primal, ancient, and deadly. In Egyptian and Mesopotamian cultures, it was a guardian of rivers and a symbol of survival, ferocity, and ageless wisdom. The hawk symbolizes clarity of vision, retribution, and the ability to strike from a distance, often before your enemy even knows you're there. His powers are as unusual as his look, and strangely benevolent for a so-called demon. He can teach all languages instantly, not just fluency, but comprehension at a spiritual level. He is said to retrieve runaways and bring back those who have fled, physically or metaphorically. He can cause earthquakes, stirring the very ground beneath one's feet, and he bestows noble titles and dignities, suggesting an authority to elevate one's social or spiritual status. Some magicians have claimed that invoking Agares allowed them to speak in tongues or channel lost languages, Aramaic, Enochian, even languages of the angels or the dead. Whether literal or metaphorical, this ability was seen as a direct link to forgotten knowledge. Agares, as strange as he seems, straddles a fascinating line between discipline and chaos, civilization and the wild. He rides the beast but commands it. He grants dignity, but also hunts down those who run. Every name carries power, and some are never truly forgotten. The demon Samigina, also spelled Gamagan in some sources, first appears in medieval grimoires like the Lemegeton and Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. His name, cryptic and without a clear linguistic root, might be a corruption of older magical terms, or part of a hidden system of symbolic naming found in Solomonic magic. Samigina appears to be a uniquely constructed figure of the magical tradition, a teacher, a guide, and curiously, a spirit caught between the worlds of the living and the dead. In some occult circles, Samigina is interpreted as androgynous or even female, making them one of the few Goetic spirits with such fluid identity. The Ars Goetia, the first book of the Lemegeton, lists Samigina as a Marquis of Hell, commanding 30 legions of spirits. He first appears as a small horse, but soon takes on human form when commanded by the magicians to come forth. Samigina's powers are precise. He teaches liberal sciences, logic, rhetoric, grammar, and perhaps more notably, he reveals the fates of souls who died in sin. Some occult texts associate Samigina with the North, the direction of mystery, death, and hidden wisdom in many magical systems. In ceremonial magic, Samigina is invoked for learning, communication with spirits, and mastering intellectual disciplines. But unlike other demons of war or lust, his is a quiet power, revealing knowledge rather than forcing it. He's said to consult directly with spirits of the dead, making him one of the few Goetic demons who acts as a necromantic liaison. His calm nature makes him a preferred spirit for solitary practitioners. There's his necromantic aspect. The souls he speaks of, those who died in sin, may represent unresolved trauma, lost knowledge, or parts of the human spirit that have yet to be understood. Samigina becomes in this light not a villain, but a kind of cosmic archivist, one who catalogues the forgotten stories of the dead. Some occultists believe Samigina only reveals truths you are emotionally prepared to handle. Approach with caution and clarity. Samigina may never shout to be heard. He rides softly, speaks hoarsely, but what he offers is profound. Knowledge from the shadows, truths that rest with the dead, and the reminder that wisdom always carries a price. Marbas first appears in early demonological texts like the Pseudo-Monarchia Daemonum by Johann Weyer, and later in grimoires such as the Lemegeton or Lesser Key of Solomon. In all accounts, he is one of the top-ranking spirits, a president of hell, and the fifth spirit of the Goetia. In these texts, Marbas is neither mindless monster nor trickster spirit. He is a demon of great knowledge, a being who knows not only the body, but the secrets of machines, the arcane, and the human mind. He is both feared and sought after, a spirit who walks the tightrope between destruction and healing. According to the Ars Goetia, Marbas holds the rank of president and governs 36 legions of demons, a formidable force. His appearance? A shapeshifter. He most often appears as a great lion, but when asked, he will take on human form, speaking in a calm voice, revealing truths hidden from all but the most courageous summoners. Each form has symbolic meaning. The lion represents authority, solar power, and ancient nobility. It's also the symbol of protection and destruction. But Marbas isn't just a creature of war. His abilities include healing and causing diseases, revealing hidden knowledge, teaching mechanical arts and secrets, changing the shape of people or spirits. During the Renaissance, Marbas was frequently invoked in ceremonial magic by practitioners seeking insight into science, medicine, and invention. He was sometimes treated as a demonic patron of surgeons and engineers, a spirit whose power could guide a careful hand in both healing and crafting. In certain alchemical texts, Marbas's dual nature, healer and bringer of disease, was symbolic of transmutation. The base material, like the ailing human body, had to be broken down before it could be healed or transformed. In the end, Marbas reminds us that the deepest knowledge lies not in light, but in shadow. That to become whole, we must face what is hidden, broken, and unwell. Valefor's name is a puzzle, perhaps drawn from the Latin Bael meaning farewell, or fur meaning thief, a name that could be translated as goodbye thief. How appropriate. He first appears in demonological texts in the 16th century, most notably the Pseudomonarchia Daemonum by Johann Weyer, and later in the Lemegeton, also known as the Ars Goetia. He is listed as the 6th spirit in the Goetia and holds the rank of Duke, commanding 10 legions of spirits. Unlike some spirits with ancient mythic roots, Valefor seems custom-crafted for grimoires, but that doesn't make him any less dangerous or influential. He offers invisibility and stealth, mastery of theft and intrusion, loyal companions or allies. But there's a catch. Over time, Valefor is said to corrupt the summoner, leading them into deceit, betrayal, and obsession with forbidden paths. Some texts warn, he gains your trust, then pulls you down with him. His loyalty is addictive. His gifts come at a spiritual cost. Valefor is a patron to those who walk in shadows. In ancient rituals, he was called on by thieves, rogues, and spies. Today, some modern practitioners associate him with hackers, covert operatives, and occult technologists. He teaches how to enter a space unseen, how to pick locks, physical or magical, how to trap and deceive enemies, and how to command loyalty from others, even when it's undeserved. But Valefor's greatest magic may be his ability to test your ethics. You ask for stealth, he gives it. You ask for power, he gives it. And then he waits to see how you fall. He's something more dangerous, a mirror, a spirit who offers us tools, tests our will, and watches what we do with the freedom we demand. In the end, Valefor's question is simple. You want to take what isn't yours. Fine. But how far will you go to keep it? Why was he revered in ancient times and feared in medieval grimoires? And what can we learn from the strange, contradictory power of this fire-breathing Marquis of Hell? Let's step into the shadows and begin in the Lemegeton, or Ars Goetia, a 17th century grimoire on demon summoning. Amon is listed as the 7th spirit. He is granted the rank of Marquis, a noble title in Hell's infernal hierarchy, and he commands 40 legions of spirits. But it's his abilities that truly set him apart. Amon is said to possess the power to reveal the past and the future. He can reconcile friends or foes, or if one desires, sow hatred and chaos between them. Amon is both a peacemaker and a warmonger. He's also associated with powerful emotional influence, particularly love, jealousy, and loyalty. In magical practice, he is invoked for guidance, for truth, and sometimes revenge. Amon's unique skill set has made him a favorite among ceremonial magicians. He's invoked for divination, emotional manipulation, and mending, sometimes breaking relationships. His sigil is drawn in red or black ink and is usually placed inside a protective circle. Some use obsidian mirrors or red candles shaped like serpents when calling his name. Amon is not malevolent by default, but he is intense. His power is precise, emotional, and personal. In modern occult circles, he's used in rituals involving romantic entanglements, rivalries, and secrets. His influence can be subtle or catastrophic, depending on the intent behind the summoning. Amon is a demon of contradiction. He creates love and destroys it. He reveals truth and hides it in flame. He may have once been a god who whispered to pharaohs and kings. Today, he is invoked in quiet rooms, scrawled on pages, and feared by those who know his power. Perhaps Amon's true lesson is this: power, whether divine or infernal, is shaped by those who use it. Was he once an angel, a forgotten nature god, or something older, an echo of wilderness and wisdom that predates even civilization? The name Barbatos may sound demonic to modern ears, but its roots are far more nuanced. Some scholars suggest it comes from the Latin word barbatus, meaning bearded, a symbol of wisdom, age, and dignity. In the medieval grimoire Ars Goetia, Barbatos is listed among the demons that King Solomon is said to have summoned and bound. But before this demonized reputation, some believe he was something more. Barbatos is said to have once belonged to the Order of Virtues, angelic beings associated with miracles, nature, and divine power. This suggests he may have fallen during the Celestial Rebellion, aligning with Lucifer and descending from grace. But perhaps there's an even older story here. Some occultists argue that Barbatos echoes the archetype of nature spirits in pagan Europe, beings who protected the forests, mediated between humans and animals, and held ancient secrets buried in the land. In the Ars Goetia, Barbatos is the eighth spirit, holding the title of Duke in the infernal hierarchy. He commands 30 legions of lesser spirits, making him a figure of significant power in the demonic realm. Unlike many of his infernal peers, Barbatos is not a spirit of chaos or destruction. His domain lies in secrets, harmony, and hidden truths. He can understand the speech of all animals. This ability, rare among demons, may symbolize a profound connection to the natural world and instinctual wisdom. He reveals treasures hidden beneath the earth and assists magicians in reconciling enemies, offering peace where once there was discord. Perhaps most intriguingly, Barbatos knows the past and future, especially secret causes that shape destiny. In this way, he becomes a guide through the unseen threads of time. In some interpretations, he is said to appear when the sun enters Sagittarius, a sign associated with knowledge, exploration, and freedom. Coincidence or deliberate symbolism encoded in the stars. In contrast to other demons of the Goetia, often associated with violence, lust, or pride, Barbatos stands out for his gentler, wiser nature. His name is rarely linked to harm or manipulation. For centuries, magicians and occultists have called upon Barbatos to aid in their rituals, not for conquest, but for clarity. The name Paimon itself hints at deep roots. Some scholars suggest it may be connected to ancient Middle Eastern traditions, perhaps evolving from spirits or deities that once held divine status. In Near Eastern cultures, names similar to Paimon appear in relation to spirits and jinn, entities neither fully good nor evil, but powerful, mysterious, and deeply tied to hidden knowledge. Pagan gods, local spirits, and figures of reverence were often recast as demons, transformed into symbols of heresy and danger. One of the earliest appearances of Paimon is found in grimoires such as the Lesser Key of Solomon, a 17th century text that codified the demons of the Ars Goetia. Interestingly, some accounts describe Paimon with a feminine voice, hinting at a dual nature. This mixture of origins, ancient spirits, transformed deities, and demonological invention created the Paimon we recognize today, a powerful king of hell, yet still holding echoes of his possible divine past. Paimon is introduced with great prominence. He is ranked as a king, a title reserved for the highest and most commanding demons of hell. Paimon is said to command vast armies, 200 legions of spirits, according to some manuscripts. These legions include both angelic beings and demonic ones. further emphasizing his complex and commanding authority. His powers are striking. Paimon can reveal knowledge of the arts, sciences, and philosophy. He is said to explain hidden mysteries of the earth and even divine secrets beyond human understanding. Perhaps most famously, he can grant familiars, loyal spirits that assist magicians, and bind others to the will of the summoner. For those seeking knowledge or influence, Paimon represented one of the most valuable allies in ritual magic. One fascinating detail from the grimoires is the description of his arrival. It is said that Paimon does not appear quietly. Instead, trumpets, music, and voices announce his presence, as if a king were marching at the head of a great parade. This ceremonial entrance reinforces his role as a royal figure in Hell's hierarchy, not merely a demon, but a ruler with majesty, order, and commanding presence. The camel upon which he rides symbolizes endurance and the ability to cross vast, harsh landscapes. It may represent Paimon's role as a guide through difficult spiritual journeys, leading magicians across the desert of ignorance toward hidden truths. The music that accompanies him, trumpets, cymbals, and voices, reflects harmony, persuasion, and overwhelming influence. In occult traditions, sound itself is power, and Paimon's arrival through music suggests his command over order and chaos alike. Even the detail of his feminine voice is worth noting. It may symbolize duality, the blending of masculine authority with feminine wisdom. In mystical traditions, this dual nature often represents completeness and mastery over opposites. Taken together, Paimon becomes more than a demon of knowledge. He embodies initiation itself, the moment when seekers are confronted with truth, power, and the overwhelming force of revelation. In ceremonial magic, Paimon was called upon to explain mysteries, to reveal the hidden workings of nature, and even to influence relationships between friends and enemies. His powers extended to granting wealth, status, and the loyalty of familiars. He is a ruler, a teacher, and a figure of awe, one whose legend embodies both the fear of forbidden knowledge and the desire to possess it. Bael is remembered as a teacher, a philosopher, and, perhaps most surprising of all, a healer. Yet his appearance is among the strangest of all demons. Bael makes his first known appearance in the 17th century grimoire known as the Ars Goetia, part of the larger reimagined, or lesser key of Solomon. Unlike many other demons, Bael has no direct connection to ancient pagan gods or biblical villains. His name has been linked to possible European or Latin roots, but the truth is uncertain. What makes Bael unique is that his characteristics don't seem to come from any older mythology. Instead, he appears to have been a distinctly medieval invention, crafted during a time when scholars and magicians were deeply interested in medicine, philosophy, and the mysteries of the natural world. Medieval bestiaries were filled with strange animals that carried moral lessons, and Bael fits right into this symbolic world. His form is a reminder that wisdom itself can seem alien, monstrous, and beyond ordinary human understanding. In the hierarchy of Hell, Bael is ranked as a great president. He commands 50 legions of spirits, making him a figure of considerable influence. But unlike many demons, Bael's powers are not destructive or warlike. Instead, he is said to teach moral and natural philosophy, logic, and the virtues of herbs. Most astonishing of all, he is credited with the ability to heal diseases in both humans and animals. Summoners called upon Bael when they sought deep knowledge of herbs, medicine, and philosophy. He was a patron spirit of learning, Dangerous, yes, but also potentially beneficial. To seek healing from a demon was to risk one's soul. Yet to desperate or ambitious magicians, the promise of wisdom outweighed the threat of damnation. For the magicians who sought his aid, Bua was not a monster, but a mentor, one who offered answers that the ordinary world could not provide.